Hey everyone, Sean here. I know I just updated, um, I uploaded a review yesterday of of the Iron Man trilogy, but I figured to get myself back on track, back on the Sundays, I figured do a review today. So I'm gonna do, the review I've been wanting to do for a few weeks with a little addition. I will be reviewing The Dark Knight Returns along with Batman Under the Red Hood, my two favorite animated movies. I'm not saying I really didn't care for Batman Year One, but these are just my two favorite. I'm gonna start with Under the Red Hood because it came out first. Now, Under the Red Hood came out on I think July 27, 2010. Um, Let me see if I can find a plot synopsis for you guys. I know I should have had this already said, but I didn't think about it. Okay, the plot outline according to International Movie Database says there's a mystery afoot in Gotham City, and Batman must go toe to toe with a mysterious vigilante who goes by the name of Red Hood. Subsequently, old wounds reopen, and old once buried memories come into life. So basically, this movie um, is based on the comic book storylines of A Death in the Family and Under the Hood, which I'm really glad for the movie they added the word red because Batman Under the Hood doesn't even sound like a good title to me. So I'm glad they changed it to Batman Under the Red Hood. Sounds completely better in my opinion. This film stars Bruce Greenwood from Star Trek as Batman. Um, and to get into the role, he chose not to look at anything that's been done before because he didn't want to risk copying something or trying to stay away from it. So he just stayed away from it altogether and just went in fresh, did his own thing. And I think he did very well for the part. I think he did very well for stepping into this to very famous shoes. So I would hope to see Bruce Greenwood in another Batman movie in the future. You got Jason Heckles playing Robin. You got Jason Heckles playing Red Hood. I think I already spoiled that for you guys. That he played Jason Todd Red Hood. Because I'm sure people have seen the movie. It's been out for like 3 years. I'm sure you guys have seen this movie already. So I'm not really spoiling anything probably. And then you got Neil Patrick Harris from what was it? How I Met Your Mother playing Nightwing, Dick Grayson. Which you don't even really know it's him unless you're looking for it. Like like I heard on other reviews that you don't know it's him unless you're really looking for the voice. Um, and then you got Vincent Martella, I think. Vincent Martella and Alexander Martella, basically the Martella brothers, playing Jason Todd at various ages. Alexander when he's a kid, and then Vincent when he's a teenager. So yeah. And then you got John D'Amigo or something. I don't know how you pronounce his name, but he plays the Joker in this movie. Um, and like I said in my Dark Knight trilogy review, I still think Heath Ledger's better. I still think Ledger and Hamill are better in my opinion. Um, and then you got somebody named Wade Williams playing the Red Hood, or not Red Hood, but Black Mask. Sorry, I don't know why I said Red Hood. He plays Black Mask. Don't get confused, please. I don't want to confuse you. Um, let's see. What else can I say? Basically, the plot, without ruining it, is in the beginning of the movie, Jason Todd gets beaten to death by Joker with a crowbar, literally beaten to death. And over the next 5 years, Batman feels that was his greatest failure. So when Jason comes back as the Red Hood, and Bruce starts piecing it all together through flashbacks, blood samples, yada yada, old stuff. He starts discovering that in his mind, his greatest failure has come back from the grave, and it's because of Ra's al Ghul. I don't say the comic book movies interpretation. I say the way it was said in Batman Begins. That's the way I've known it. So fans of Batman, don't shoot me. Basically, Ra's basically hires the Joker, not intending it to be a wild goose chase. But what happens is Joker kills Jason. So Ra's tries to, as he says, rectify the situation and bring Jason back to life, but through the Lazarus pit. But something evidently goes wrong, or so we think, because Jason just goes cuckoo, like homicidal maniac basically, and becomes a Red Hood because he wants to get Joker's attention so he can get his revenge by beating him to death. And I thought this was a very good movie. This is my second favorite of the line of Batman movies that have been out of the animated movies that I've seen. And I love the movie. I love this movie. I thought it was a very good one. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I'll give it a 9 out of 10 on animated movies. Now, on to the review that I've been wanting to do for weeks. Batman The Dark Knight Returns. I'm going to review these as one movie. So, it may take me a little long to get through it. But I'm going to do these in one video. It was one movie. I'm going to start with Batman The Dark Knight Returns Part 1. Basically, in this one, Bruce is in retirement for 10 years after Jason's death. No, it has nothing to do with Under the Red Hood. Trust me, I've looked. But no, this has nothing to do with Under the Red Hood. It just happens to have some of the same stuff. But this is after Jason's death. He's been in retirement for 10 years. Gordon knows who he is. And Gordon's getting ready to retire, I should say. But once a new gang comes along known as the Mutants, Bruce feels that he has to become Batman again and stop the mutants. Which he does, yes. He does stop the mutants, but this storyline, Dark Knight Returns, was partially inspiration for The Dark Knight Rises, which I reviewed a few weeks ago in my trilogy review. Oh, excuse me. In this, we get to meet the new Robin, Carrie Kelly, and I just thought this was a very good movie. The voice cast in this one is Peter Weller playing Bruce Wayne Batman, which I kind of missed Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill from the video games, but they're older now, so I kind of think that's an okay thing because they're older in this movie. But and the Joker's in this movie a touch, but only enough to be a standby to lead into part 2, which I thought was really cool. This whole thing is cool. Let's see. Ariel Winter plays Carrie Kelly, Robin, and David Selby plays Jim Gordon, who I said is on his way to retire. Now on to part 2. The Dark Knight Returns Part 2 basically picks up 3 months after Batman stops the mutant gang, and he's going around basically to finish them off, basically. The mutant gang have now splintered off, have separated off into smaller groups. Some of them are still mutants, but that basically they separated into multiple groups. This one basically is the Joker's got now. After seeing Batman return, he's basically came out of a mental state or whatever you will call it, and immediately thinks of a way to get out automatically. So the Joker goes on to a television show, talk show, and starts becoming a maniac. And then this one, the Joker finally kicks the bucket. Batman finally makes Joker kick the bucket. But in this, you also got Superman, Blight, and Superman's basically asked by the government to stop Batman because Batman has become a total vigilante, and the government just wants him taken down. So they figure, have Superman do it, someone who knows Bruce very well, to talk him down. And I think that in the end of the movie, we have the best one-on-one fight. I think is one of the best one-on-one fights in cartoons. But don't make fun of me for me saying this, but I think that every time I see the fight between Batman and Superman in this movie, makes me think of the fight from Revenge of the Sith, of episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, between Anakin and Obi-Wan. Did you figure two friends going in and fighting each other? And that's why it makes me think of that fight, because it's two friends fighting each other. So please don't make fun of me for it. But yeah, and also the Alfred burns down the mansion. I don't know why, and then he dies of a stroke, I think they said. And in this one, the ending was used as reference for the Dark Knight Rises, but changed a little bit because Bruce faces death and then ends up being alive later, which I thought was cool. So this whole story here, Dark Knight Returns, very cool movie. Better than Under the Red Hood, I thought. This one was my most favorite Batman animated movie. I have seen this movie like 5 times, maybe. I've seen this 5 times, maybe, in general. Like, both parts put together, I've seen 5 times. Because I watch it both parts put together, and I've done that since I got this one. Once I got this one, I just watch them both together. I don't watch one or the other. I watch them both. I feel like the story better that way. So I give Under the Red Hood a 9 out of 10, and I know nothing's perfect, but I give Dark Knight Returns a 10 out of 10. Thought it was the best movie of the animated comic book movies, and I just had a blast with it. So see you next time. Next time I review Star Trek Into Darkness along with the 2009 movie. So